Today I wanted to talk about German, about Deutsch. And one thing that I've noticed about German, and probably that is, something that happens with a lot of other languages too, is there are a lot of synonyms in German. Like synonyms meaning different words that have a similar definition, similar meaning to them. If you look at the history of Germany, Germany hasn't always been one country that we call Germany today. Really, it was a bunch of countries, like small countries, and it was very divided most of the time. It wasn't until Prussia, united them all, kind of conquered the rest of them and made it one Germany. So there's a lot of different dialects and regional differences in German. And I was looking at this Berlitz book that one of my friends has, Berlitz Essential German. And it's kind of like, I'd say a pretty good book. But it has very different vocabulary than me. Very different. In the very first conversation, it uses the word Kugelschreiber. And I guess that means pen. The word I learned for pen was Kuli. Die Kuli. Not Kugelschreiber. I don't know from which originates from where, which is used in southern or northern German, or what the deal is. But there's some different vocabulary in this book. Like one thing, at the very end it says, Auf Wiedersehen, Herr Schmidt, bis demnächst, or next. That means until next time. I always learned bis später, which is until later. I never heard that one before. And just some different phrases and stuff. There's some more in here too, like ist dies eine Schachtel? Is this a box? See, Schachtel is a word I've never seen before until I saw it in this book. And the word I always used was Kasten. Maybe that's basket. I remember learning a different word for box. I can't think of it right now. But Schachtel is definitely not it. And let's see. What else is in here? I know I saw more. Oh. Ein Gespräch. Gespräch. I've heard it before, and I know it means conversation, but the word that I had always learned was Unterhaltung, which could mean in entertainment, but it also means conversation, too. So I'm not sure, which comes from where, which dialect, where it's popular, but, I've learned both of those. And one thing I noticed about this book too, and I've noticed it about kind of a lot of these German books, is these language manuals for German, is they always teach you the very, very formal way of speaking German. Like they use Sind Sie Paul? Are you Paul? Sind Sie Thomas Schmidt? Nicht wahr? It's a very kind of formal way of speaking, like with strangers. I speak most of my German with friends and family. So I most of the time I'm using informal German. So for me it's kind of strange to look at this textbook and see only formal German, Also, I think a lot of these books tend to neglect informal German. Like du bist rather than sie sind, type deal. They don't really seem to teach you the informal part in a lot of books I've seen. Not all, but a lot of them. So let's see if I'd say the majority of it's the same. But there are some words that like just threw me off because I learned different ones. Whether which one's correct, I'm not sure. They're probably both correct, or which is used more. I'm not sure. I think one thing too that I noticed with a lot of language books, a lot of language manuals, is they're usually well, at least not all of them, but some of them are organized by grammar rather than what you would need to say right away, and I don't like that too much. I mean, grammar's good and all, and you should know grammar, but I think ultimately these books should be geared for what you're gonna need to say right away too. So oh, one more. Wortschaft. Or no, Wortschatz. Yeah, Wortschatz. That's what they use for vocabulary in this book. They translate that to vocabulary. The word I had always learned for vocabulary was Vokabeln. Vokabeln. Not Wortschatz. That kind of threw me off too. But I mean, overall, this Berlitz book is pretty good. Definitely pretty good. It has a lot of the good vocabulary you would need to know for German. Like, here's one conversation. Heidi, guten Abend, wie geht es Ihnen? Danke, mir geht es gut, ich bin zu Hause. Sagen Sie mal, welchen Tag haben wir heute? Ist es nicht Donnerstag? Donnerstag, das kann nicht sein. Heute ist nicht Donnerstag. Mein Kalender zeigt schon Freitag. Schon Freitag? Ist das möglich? Ja, Sie haben recht. Wieso denn? Heute Abend sind wir, das heißt Thomas und ich, mit einigen Bekannten verabredet. Es handelt sich um einige Kollegen aus dem Büro. Das sind sehr nette Leute. Wie schön. Und wohin gehen Sie? Zuerst gehen wir ins Theater. Kommen Sie mit? Danke, ich will heute Abend nichts im Theater. Ich bin sehr müde. Schade, wir gehen ins Stille Theater. Anschließend essen wir in einem Restaurant am Kudamm. Aber sagen Sie mal, wie viel Uhr ist es jetzt? Es ist 6 Uhr. Sie müssen aber bald los. Was? Schon 6 Uhr. Um 6:30 kommen Sie, ja? Also, auf Wiederhören, Heidi. Auf Wiederhören, Clara. Viel Vergnügen. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, it's got some pretty important stuff in there. Some pretty, I guess, crucial words. So I think this is overall a good book, but it's definitely got some different German than I'm used to in it. I guess it's different when you learn a language, through a book rather than through people, so to say. Because, like, I'm learning Swahili, not so heavily right now, and I have a Kenyan friend who kind of helps me learn. Like, I ask him questions and stuff, and I see the way he speaks Swahili is very, very different than the formal way that these kind of books lay them out. They're so textbookish and that type of stuff. They're so formal rather than just kind of, I guess, regular, everyday, colloquial language. But yeah, it's a pretty cool book, and It's definitely kind of made me think a little bit more about how, different languages have a lot of words for the same thing, especially English. English has that a lot. Like, especially since England, has been conquered many times by different people. Like, we have skin, which comes from Old Norse, from the Vikings that invaded England. And the English word is hide. I mean, they're the same thing, skin and hide. But you usually hear skin a lot more now. And you also have smell and odor. Odor comes from French. You have excuse me and pardon, the pardon coming from French. So you get a lot of that in English too. But the thing with German is they're all German words. They're not like loan words really from other languages. They're just different dialects of German. So I find that kind of interesting. In Chinese, I'm learning Chinese. Chinese has a little bit of that, because you have differences between like mainland China and like Taiwanese Mandarin. Their Mandarin differs a little bit from place to place. Like in kind of like more the Beijingese kind of northern Chinese accent, you'd say 我会说一点儿中文, or that 一点儿 means a little, like I speak a little Chinese. 一点儿 is kind of like a more northern way of pronouncing it, more Beijingese way of pronouncing it, where in Taiwan, I think they would say 一点, and kind of the Beijingese accent, they have a lot of that R sound to it. R. They throw it in a lot of places that you don't really see in other dialects and stuff too. And not only that, they kind of have different words altogether for some things. One other book I wanted to look at, I'll show you guys, was a slang book, and it was Chinese slang. Dirty Chinese. So it has some pretty interesting stuff in it. And the one thing I didn't like about this particular like slang book, if you want to call it that, is it has a lot of like sentences and stuff that no one would really ever use. Like some really obscure, weird ones, I guess. Like they have written sections. This is friendly Chinese. Like, here's one sentence. I mean, how often do you think you're going to say this? And it's, I don't care how delicious their candy looks. Don't talk to strangers. I'm going to try to pronounce it. 不要和陌生人说话，无论他们手中的糖果有多诱人。I don't care how delicious their candy looks, don't talk to strangers. I mean, that's kind of a weird phrase. Here's another one. The guy hit me from behind with a blackjack and ran off. I'd be able to recognize his silhouette at most. Like, what? Like, are you really going to use that phrase in real life? They got some crazy stuff in here. I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's not practical. It's not realistic. Let's see if I can find some other ones. Oh, here's one that I thought was really, really ridiculous. And it's 一起到 Angelina Jolie 我能想到的只有她那双嘟嘟嘴. Whenever I hear about Angelina Jolie, all I can think about are those pouty lips of hers? What? It's such a ridiculous phrase. Why would they put that in a book? Like, no one's just gonna go around and say that. I don't know. To me, it was just kind of ridiculous. I was just like, what? Are you serious? That's a little strange. And they have a whole section on here about exercising, which I thought was kind of, I don't know, strange, I guess. I mean, exercising is all cool and that, but like stretching, jogging, treadmill, weightlifting, yoga, splits, swimming, aerobics, jumping jacks, sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups, biceps, triceps, pecs, abs, gluteus, thighs, calves. You know, like, when you buy, like, a slang phrase book, you don't expect to see exercising in there, so I thought that was kind of a little strange. And this book has a lot of really graphic stuff in it, too. I was kind of, more graphic than other slang books I've seen, so I was just kind of like, whoa. Then it does have some useful stuff, too. Here's one, online friend. I thought that was kind of cool. Wang Yao. Especially, you know, being on YouTube here and talking to a lot of people, other language enthusiasts. I could probably use this word. Wang Yao. Wang Yao. Online friend. If you look at this character really closely right there, let's see if I can zoom in. No, it's not focusing. But Wang Yao comes from Peng Yao, which is friend. So you have that Yao kind of at the end there. And Wang is Chinese for net. So like in English we say internet, but in Chinese they say net quite literally. Wang. Like you'd say Shang Wang, which means like online, or I'm on the internet. Well, Shang Wang. So yeah, I thought that they kind of have some funny stuff in here too, like homeboy. Like I think that would be a Gumar, and different kind of stuff like that. One thing too, like, you know how I was just talking about in German, the different words and stuff that mean the same thing. Here's one I found in Chinese too, which is schoolmates, I guess. And it's xiao yao. Not quite sure. I learned tong shui, which for like schoolmate or classmate, tong shui. I don't know, maybe they're slightly different and it's just not explaining good enough. Like this one is coworkers, that's tong shi. Tong shi. So, I don't know. Colleagues, tong hang. Tong hang. That one might be good to know. Oh, there's classmates. Oh. I guess there must be a difference that I'm not catching. And they have flaky or sketchy. I thought that was kind of funny. Woo cow purr. And here's another one of those weird phrases they have in this book. Dude, he got kicked out of Cambodia by the government. That's way sketchy. Like, are you really gonna, like, go out and say that? I don't know. To me, it was just kind of strange. Oh, and they have this section. It's funny. Yes, you know what. And, the second thing they have is midgets. Juru. I thought that was kind of, I don't know, a little ridiculous. I don't know, I go around saying midgets and laughing and making jokes about midgets, but whatever, I guess. I think that I have that I think I made a video about slang not too long ago, and I know I have it in my German resources video. I have like a German slang book, and I like their publications at companies better than this one. They have, I mean, some useful stuff in this book, but like a lot of it just seemed a little ridiculous to me. Not practical stuff you could really use. And another thing that I wanted to talk about today was Oxford Beginners Dictionaries. Now, this one's slightly an older version of the German, and this is a newer Chinese version. This is my friend's book, and books. Yeah, I think out of all the language dictionaries that I've ever really looked at, Oxford makes the best, for sure. Like that big, I have a big Oxford German dictionary that I use shown in my German resources video, and I mean that's probably one of the best German English dictionaries I've ever had, and I've seen other ones in other languages and they're just as good. But the beginners ones give good explanations and good examples of words in context. Like this one has improve. To improve or to make better is verbessern. To improve one's financial situation. Seine finanzielle Lage verbessern. To get better, besser werden. Your German is improving. Dein Deutsch wird besser. Or it says, an ill or injured person. He has greatly improved. Es geht ihm viel besser. An improvement as a noun. Die Verbesserung. So, yeah, it gives good explanations to just about most words. I mean, it doesn't with all of them, but with a lot of them it does. Like, anyway, besides, sowieso. I didn't want to go there anyway. Ich wollte da sowieso nicht hingehen. All the same. Trotzdem. Thanks anyway. Trotzdem danke. So, yeah, they kind of have cool examples, and that's why I think these beginners dictionaries are good to have, you know, especially when you're a beginner, but it's just good to have even alongside the Oxford's bigger dictionaries, because it gives more explanations, and you know, it's easier to pick up this little book than one of those big huge dictionaries. And here's what the newer ones look like. This one's for Chinese, and I think the thing with Chinese is, you know, opinion dictionaries are what most dictionaries are like, at least most of the ones I can come across, but I really want to find a dictionary that's based on the character radicals. So I have yet to find one of those, and if anyone can recommend me a good dictionary, Chinese dictionary with that's based off the characters, please let me know, because I would love to find a good one. Like I said, most of the ones I have found have been only opinion dictionaries, and that's kind of been a little frustrating for me, but I guess that's all for now.